Alright, so I just swapped this engine into this Volvo 740, and I've been having some rich running condition issues with it. Um, I've gone over the timing. I moved the distributor from the stock location at the back of the cylinder head over here to where it usually is on a 240. This does have the Hall sensor on it for the ignition computer, and you can adjust this. So you unscrew this little 12mm bolt down on the block, and then you move the distributor around a little bit, and that adjusts the static timing, and everything with this engine is timed. Up here there should be a little dot for the cam position, and then over here this dot is like at 3 o'clock, and when that's at 3, the spark should be at the first firing spark plug, which is this one, and then the bottom down here should be at 0 degrees. If you can see past that belt where it says 0, and then look at the timing mark on this pulley down here. And also you want to make sure that this pulley isn't damaged, because there's this rubber in between the pulley and the outer side of the pulley that gets torn, and that can affect the timing readings that you're trying to get from it. But I already messed with the ignition timing and the engine's timing yesterday, and that didn't really do any good for me. So now I am on to diagnosing the fuel computer system, or just some of the sensors that go to the fuel computer. I was thinking a fuel pressure regulator could be, or high output fuel pump in the tank, and that thing feeds a lot of fuel to this fuel rail, and this does smell kind of fuely. Yeah, a little bit more so than I'd like. So I have a new fuel rail pressure regulator, and I also went and just picked up a new oxygen sensor. That was like $100. I've never actually gotten a brand new oxygen sensor for this one yet. This one came off of a donor car and worked fine for me, but the condition that I had was kind of interesting, because it happened all at once. I was driving the car and it was making boost, and then out of nowhere it just started sputtering, and anytime I would lay into the throttle more than like 5%, it would just sputter out and misfire and die, and it runs extremely rich. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up and show you all what I mean before I go ahead and start changing up everything and changing these sensors and fuel pressure regulators, because I want to actually try to document like what the actual issue is. And yesterday I did also do some, I messed around with the bypass valve. So this thing takes the pressurized air from the charge pipe and puts it back into the intake. But right now I just have it vented to atmosphere, and I actually deleted this completely yesterday, so I got a 10mm bolt in this vacuum line where it usually connects to here, and this hose isn't hooked up to anything, so right now I just have it running solid wastegate. So it's just gonna make a lot of fluttering and toot-toot sounds, and make that little turbo flutter that we all know and love. But I have all the hoses tightened up. I removed the air filter to make sure that there's no, this is kind of dirty, but I don't think this is the issue, but there could be some sort of an air intake obstruction. So I just took this off to kind of eliminate the factor of there being an air intake obstruction or any sort of blockage of air supply to the turbo. I believe the turbo's okay. I did a new oil feed and return, and on the original setup it uses this big old banjo bolt to feed the turbo, and so that hole is pretty big. And this whole fitting, I did drill it out and make it a bit bigger, so the turbo is still getting plenty of oil to be running fine. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and see what happens. Got the quick disconnect battery things hooked up just in case anything bad happens. The timing's right. The ignition timing is set 12 degrees before top dead center. The engine's timed. I don't know why it's running rich, unless it is a bad mass airflow sensor, oxygen sensor, fuel pressure regulator, the engine temperature sensor that's down here. I did replace, so I got my knock sensor, and then the first sensor for the dash, and then there's another one back here for the actual fuel injection computer, and that I have replaced with a brand new Bosch sensor. You can probably see it from up here, maybe not. So that should all be good. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that one of the pressure, I really hope that the pressure regulator or the oxygen sensor fixes it, but don't know until you try. So I'm gonna start it up and show you the rich condition that I have, because it's super rich. So this will probably read here in a few seconds, and it's just going to show 10, I would assume. Yep. Just put that fuel pump fuse back in to the 11 spot. Got all these little extendable circuits put in for the glow shift gauges and whatnot, but thing's just running 10 like a motherfucker, so I'm gonna go ahead and change out the oxygen sensor, maybe the mass airflow sensor, and a couple other things, and I'm just gonna make a little documentary on the things that I change, and then hopefully we'll know which one it was that was causing this extremely rich running issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut her off and get to it. Alright, sorry for the background noise, kind of a lot going on right now. This is the old oxygen sensor that I just pulled out. So you can see it looks really dirty. Pulled that guy out. Got the new one that I got from AutoZone installed, and then I'm just gonna plug her in, and we're gonna fire her up and see if this fixes it. I would hope so. Sensor was not the issue. Not the issue. Alright, now on to the fuel pressure. Alright, so with the fuel pressure regulator, since there's fuel pressure at the fuel rail now, you want to unplug the fuel pump relays and turn the car over a few times. And that should get the fuel pressure out of the fuel rail when you go to crack it open. So now let's go change that fuel pressure regulator out. Prepare for some fuel spillage. Ooh, had a little shooter there. Alright, see what we got with that fuel pressure regulator. getting super rich. Alright, I'm gonna try the mass airflow sensor and see what that does. Yo, hey, I don't know what I just did, but it's the mass airflow sensor. What the shit? Holy crap, look at that. Okay, wow, I'm gonna go fuck with this. I'm gonna let the car do its thing for it. Wow, I fixed it. Oh shit. Alright, okay. That mass airflow sensor definitely had something to do with it. Alright, sick. I just spent a lot of money on parts, but that's what you gotta do to make it worth it, to know that that's the problem. That's incredible. Holy shit. Well, now I'm gonna go snug everything up and take this bad Betty for a test drive, so let's go.